मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे सद्गुरुं चन्द्रशेखरम् नमः सर्वेभ्यः. So in the previous class we saw how this stuti is unique in the sense that it has been performed. The stuti. Stuti means praise. So this praise is being performed by this jiva, which is in the form, which is in the body of an elephant. And because of the previous janma vasana, and probably that memory, that deep vasana that is there, it is doing this stuti towards that nirguna parabrahma swarupa. And we began with the first few verses, we saw what they were saying. And we completed with this verse in the last class where we said, Yasya padam deva rishayaha naviduhu. That padam here means, padam does not mean feet, it does not mean some place or something. Padam means the nature of that thing, the swarupa of that thing, which even the rishis and devas do not know. Then how can any other jantu like me, jantu means any creature that is just born, how will it know? How will it understand this? Just like the simile, the analogy of the actor was given, and the word duratyaya was used. Duratyaya means it is extremely difficult to understand, very difficult to fathom what it is about. With just words or this intellect, this limited intellect of ours, it is not possible to grasp that thing, is what this verse was about. Moving on to verse 7. So when you have told that it is not understandable, then what is the use of pursuing this? If at the beginning of a subject itself somebody says, whatever you try, how much ever you try, you are not going to understand this, however intelligent you might be, then there is no point in pursuing that at all. So that being the case here, if you say that this is not attainable by the intellect, that is what I have. Anybody who possesses something, we have various levels of intellect, but at least it should be attainable by somebody. And even the Upanishad says, Tamevam viditva atimrutyumeti, meaning having known that one attains immortality or one goes beyond death. So what do you mean by understanding? How do you know this? How do you understand this tattva when you say that it is not understandable? So that in this verse, Gajendra continues, is what the commentator says. So this knowing is not like some other knowing. In all other things in the world, we always understand it as a secondary object. Meaning whatever knowledge we gain in this world, I am the knower, I am a person who understands a lot of things. Then the teacher teaches, or the book teaches me, or nowadays a lot of technology and the gadgets teach me. So in some way or the other, I obtain that knowledge. But this knowledge that we are talking about, this moksha purushartha here, it is about knowing the knower itself. The person or the I who is trying to understand everything else, you have to understand that I. That is why this is different. Yasya sumangalam padam didrikshavaha. The great people, the wise people who are eager to understand this didrikshavaha means wanting to see it. Drashtum ichha is didriksha, wanting to actually perceive it directly. Sumangalam, says Gajendra. Sumangalam means that which is the most auspicious thing. There is nothing that can be more auspicious than this. That is why Bhagavan says in the Gita, Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitramiha vidyate. There is nothing that is as auspicious as jnana. That is that Sumangalam Padam. This knowledge which is the most pure, which people are eager to attain that. Yasya Sumangalam Padam didrikshavaha bhutatma bhutaha suhurdaha susadhavaha. Susadhavaha means those good sages, those good saints, the pious ones that are there, those munis, how are those munis? They are bhutatma bhutaha. In all the people, they see themselves. This is the teaching of all morality, and that is the uniqueness of human beings also, that we are able to see in others our own self. Meaning, we feel the pain of others. Why do you feel the pain of somebody else? Because you try to put yourself in their shoe and say, how would it be if I were like that? Because it would pain me, it is going to pain them also, and hence I will not do this. That is how we try to take decisions at some places. But those who are extremely pious, in all the creatures, they are able to have this same sense. That is also equal to me, so it will feel that kind of a pain, it will feel that kind of a happiness, and they are able to treat it in that way. Hence, bhutatma bhutaha. They are able to see their own self in all living beings. Because they are able to see like that, they are the real friends. They are friends for all. Suhritaha. Suhrit means one who is close to the heart, is Suhrit. Because they are able to see themselves in all living beings, they are the Suhrit for all. Being like this, they are Vimukta Sangaha. You can actually be a close friend to everybody only if you have absolute detachment. If you are attached to something, then you cannot actually do the greatest benefit to them. It might seem like a contradiction, but that is not the case. Wherever we are attached, because of the attachment itself, there will be some amount of bias there, some amount of problems there. Whenever you are unattached, you can do the greatest of benefit for that person. A very material example for this is we take the example of doctors who we know they do good for everyone. Let us take a surgeon who has to perform a surgery. They're extremely good surgeon and they perform surgeries on everybody. But let us say somebody who is very close to them, that is their own family, their child or parent or spouse or somebody, a surgery has to be performed upon them, then they will not be performing the surgery. Even according to the doctor oath, it is not allowed because there is attachment there. When it says that there is close family, that surgeon might be the most experienced or the best, but they will not be allowed to perform that surgery because it is close family, because there is attachment, and hence there is a problem. But everywhere else where there is no attachment, they are able to do what is good for the other person. They are able to treat them very well. So whenever there is vimukta sangaha, whenever there is detachment, that is when the greatest of good can be performed. That is why the jnani has performed the greatest of good to the world. Vimukta sangaha munayaha susadhavaha. Having given up all attachment, they become bhutatma bhutaha suhridaha. And what do? They try to remain aloof from this world by going away into the deep forest. Vani alokavratam avranam. They go to the deep forest and they do extraordinary penance. Alokavratam. Vratam is usually some kind of penance or some disciplined observance, is called as vrata. Aloka vrata means not a mortal, some vrata that other mortals cannot do. That kind of a very extraordinary kind of penance is what they observe by going to the forest. Avranam charanti. Here the word avrana means without a break. Vrana means a pause or something, or hurdle in between. There is no pause. Unceasingly they continue this tapas. Avranam charanti. Same gati. So wanting to understand this, see, where did we begin this shloka? That we cannot understand that Brahman, but to understand that Brahman or that Paramatma Vastu as the self, these munis who are bhutatma bhutaha, wanting to understand that, they give up all the attachment to this world. They go into the vana and they do great penance to capture this very existence of the self. May that Purusha, that Paramatma, may he be my sole refuge. Same gatihi. That Supreme Bhagavan, may he be my refuge, says Gajendra. And in the next verse, he continues. We saw there was a word Duratyayanu in verse 6. Explaining that Duratyayanu is this verse, verse number 8. Now, Navidyate yasya cha janma karma va. This Brahma Vastu, this Paramatma Vastu, has neither birth nor any kind of action. It does not have Nama, Rupa. Nama means some name, or Rupa means some form. Neither Guna nor Dosha. Means neither good quality nor bad qualities. There are no great things nor defects. Guna dosha evava. Tathap, even though we keep negating all these things from that Paramatma Vastu, that there is no birth, there is no death, there is no action, there is no name or no form, there is no quality associated with it. Tathapi, even then, lokapyaya sambhavayayaha. From that emanates the loka, apyaya. The word apyaya means dissolution. Pralaya. The word pralaya is equal to apyaya. Lokasya apyayaha. And sambhava. Sambhava is creation, or that which appears. Lokapyaya sambhavayayaha swamayaya tani anukulam richati. With his own maya, with the power of maya, he means that vastu, that Paramatma vastu which is there, undertakes as if it has taken a janma and as if it is doing some karma. So swamayaya, using its maya, anukalam richati. Anukalam means according to the time, from time to time, whenever it has to happen, it takes it, it assumes it. Richati means gachati or prapnoti is called richati. We have seen this tattva repeatedly again through the previous stutis also, where even though that Paramatma Vastu is of the Nirguna Swarupa, it appears in the form of this world, it takes an avatar also. And that is what is being mentioned here. Using that Maya Shakti, it acts as if it has taken birth. That is why at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita Bhashya commentary, Bhagavan Adi Shankara, he says that Bhagavan Devakyam Vasudevena Jata Iva Lokanugraham Kurvanniva Lakshyate. As if he was born to Devaki and Vasudeva, and as if he is doing Loka Anugraha, he is seen like that. Because through that Maya Shakti, this whole creation is by that Maya Shakti only, and in that same Maya Shakti, he also appears. But Paramatma Vastu also appears as if it has taken birth. So Tani here, words that Tani means those things, means Janma, Karma, etc. All those seem to happen as if it has taken it up, even though in reality it is not existing in that Parabrahma Vastu. That is why it becomes Duratyayanu Kramana. Becomes very difficult to understand, capture through the limited mental capacity. It is not something that is to be captured through words or mental capacity also, is what is going to come next. Because the more and more we try to explain it, the more and more confusing it becomes. The idea is to not get confused. The idea is to capture that self right here and now as our Anubhava Swarupa. The more and more words we use, the more and more things that we try to explain by logic, more and more confusing it will become. See, each of the words that are present, actually starting from the next verse, each word is embedded with a lot of tattva. And there have been great many books that have been written great many debates by logicians and others which have taken place to understand each of these words, not from this context especially, but every word that is there from even in these verses, but especially from the next word, next verse onwards, is filled with a deep meaning. We do not have enough scope in this course to discuss that, nor do we have enough background to get into the depths of every word and its meaning. Nevertheless, we will understand that. But everywhere through these stutis, what is to be understood is that each of the stuti is for us to indicate towards the tattva and to bring in us a sprout of bhakti towards that Paramatma for us. That is what each of this is useful for. At the same time, those who are, this gives us the idea of that Parabrahma Tattva. Like, there is something that is existing like that. That is only from here we understand that if this Shastra did not exist, then we would not even know that we have to look at it in this kind of a manner or look at it in this direction to understand it. That is why the Shastra is useful. And we listen to it again and again and again in multiple manners to get clarity. What we are doing is that is why it is manana. Next verse. Tasmai namah pareshaya is the next verse. Namaha pareshaya namaha. What a paresha means? To that supreme one, I offer my salutations, my namaskaras to that supreme one. How is that supreme one? Is the description of Arupaya Brahmani. In the verse, it is not as usual. I have done the Anvaya here. Brahmani is there. That Brahman, that Brahma Vastu that is there, it has no Rupa. There is no form. There is no form at all for that Brahma Vastu. But at the same time, that Brahma Vastu is Ananta Shakti and Ururupa. Ananta Shakti means infinite potency that it has. Shakti, just the glories that it has is infinite. And hence, it takes so many innumerable forms also. We see the contradiction here. I think in the previous stuti itself, we saw the contradictions, and wherever we come across contradictions, we go back to that and see how we solve the contradictory terms that are there. Wherever contradictions arise, with the same logic, we resolve the contradictions. That the say because Brahman has to be explained with contradicting terms, cannot be explained without contradicting terms. I think this example was given before when we came across the contradicting term, but I will give you the same example again. If at all a mother comes and says, with a boy next to her, she comes and says that this boy is my eldest son and my youngest son, and he is the middle of my middle sons. Youngest and eldest are usually contradictory. But in this case, what it means is she has only one son. She does not have multiple sons, and hence she can say, this is the youngest of my young sons and eldest of my elder sons. It means she has only one son. Similarly here, whenever contradictory terms are used, we use this example or many such similar examples that we have come across to understand that the same Brahman which is Arupa, which has no form, is also Ururupa and Ananta Shakti, which has infinite rupas, innumerable forms. It manifests in so many innumerable forms and also possesses so many Shaktis, Ananta Shaktaye, and hence it is Ascharya Karmani. It is surprising. We do not find any parallel to this. All other examples that we use are only to understand some quality, some parts of this understanding. Each of the examples that we use, the example itself will have some defects. That example is not equal to Brahman. If we say gold and ornament, or mud and pot, or the mirage example, or the snake and the rope, so many examples we have come across. All these examples will have defects. That is not to say that they are equal to, we can say that they are exactly equal to Brahman and the Jagat. All these examples are to show or for us to give a direction, for us to do that contemplation as to what this Brahman could be. But hence, it is Ascharya Karmane. It is so wondrous. It is so wonderful that it is so difficult to explain it through words. Nama Ascharya Karmane. Continuation. Nama Atma. See, the whole thing for starting here is Namaha, Namaha again and again. It's a salutation, a repeated salutation. We cannot do anything other than do Namaskara. When you get a taste of that Brahma Vastu, that humility comes within, that everything is that Brahma Swarupa. Then what is the space for this Ahankara to exist, that I to exist? There is no space for it to exist. So it is a surrender of that Ahankara, which is throughout the Stuti, this Namaha Namaha. Again, we don't see so many Namaskaras in the other few Stutis that we have seen. This is a complete Namaskara, repeated Namaskara. Nama Atma Pradipaya. To that one which is self-effulgent. Atma Pradipa means you don't need anything else to light it up. What is the only thing that you don't require something else to light up? It is our own existence. For any other knowledge, you need the basic knowledge that is necessary is I. By I do not mean this body or one we give a name or identity to ourselves. We have some ID cards and positions and plaques next to ourselves. Not that. It is our own existence through which we know things. If we sit in a dark room and we switch off all the lights, then we might not know whether anything else exists or any other person exists unless they make a sound or they touch you or something. But to know the existence of your own self, you do not need to tap yourself. You do not need to make a sound and say, yes, I exist. You do not need to open your eyes and see that you exist. You know that you exist. And that knowing is not like knowing something else where you know somebody taught you that this is there and it exists. It is a self-effulgent existence. This is what we mean by self-effulgent. Only if that exists, you can know about anything else in this world. Whatever knowledge you acquire, who acquires that knowledge? It is that person who acquires the knowledge about who we are speaking here. Atma Pradipaya. It does not require something else to light it up. I, as the existent self, light up everything else. Light we mean metaphorically here. Even to see a light that is appearing here from electricity or from the sun or from fire, you need to exist to see that light. This Atma Pradipa we will see in the other verses now, where it comes as Indriya Vrittaye, etc. Even Atma Pradipaya, Sakshine Paramatmane. And hence it is Sakshi. It is the witness for everything. It is the fundamental witness without which no other knowledge or nothing else takes place. Sakshine Paramatmane. Here Paramatma means the one who is the supreme controller of all the jivas. One who controls all the jivas is Paramatma. Namo Giram Viduraya. But one who is not possible to be captured by speech, is beyond the reach of speech. To that person I salute. I do my namaskaras again. Gihi means words or speech. One who cannot be captured just by words. We are speaking, so then why are you lecturing, you might ask. What is the point of all this lecture? The lecture itself or the words themselves cannot capture that and give it to you. But they give an indication of that. Then the sadhaka himself captures it within his own Hridaya Guha. This is how it happens. Namo Giram Viduraya Manasaha Chetasamapi. Mind and intellect, all these also use words and various other things to capture some knowledge. But that is not possible. It is not possible to capture this one. See, Mind is also limited. The intellect is also limited. Limited means in what sense? It has a certain limit to it. It cannot capture anything. For example, if we start thinking of the expansion of the extent of the universe, that itself cannot be captured by the mind. What do we mean by infinite? Whatever we can capture by the mind is in some way finite, in some way measurable. Only something that can be measured in one way or the other is to be captured by the mind or the intellect. What we are talking about here is something that is immeasurable, and hence it is called as aprameya. Meya means something that can be measured. This is ameya, this cannot be captured. So hence manasaha chetasamapi viduraya, that which is beyond the reach of the mind and intellect also. To that I bow down again, I do my prostrations. And he continues, vipaschita sattvena pratilabhyaya. That is the beginning of the verse. Here, the person who is being talked about is a vipaschit. Vipaschit means one who has made a decision that I am going to capture this thing that is permanent. A viveki, the person who knows the difference between permanent and the eternal and temporary. So that vipaschit, the one who is the sadhu, one who is wise, a wise person, is called vipaschit. What does he do? Sattvena, sattva, the word sattva here means a mind which is pure, a pure mind, sattvena. With a pure mind, he gives up all the actions of this world, naishkarmyena. He gives up the various actions. This talks about the greatest of sannyasis, and with that pratilabhyaya, he tries to attain this. This is attained. This means what? This means that Paramatma Vastu. That Paramatma Vastu is attained by giving up all the actions of the world with a pure mind. This is what the Vedas also say, Sannyasa Yogat Yatayaha Shuddha Sattvaha. They're also the same words. The Vedic verses are being almost translated into shlokas here for the sake of everyone to understand. By giving up all the actions of this world, that understanding that I am not the doer, and giving up all the actions, the wise attain this state of, attain this Paramatma Vastu. And that Paramatma is Kaivalya Natha. He is the one who grants, who bestows this Kaivalya also. Kaivalya, we have seen the word Kaivalya means oneness. There is nothing other than that. Kevala Bhavaha Kaivalya. Salutations, prostrations to that master of liberation. Master means what? One who can grant you that liberation. Kaivalya Nathaya Nirvana Sukha Samvide. The word Nirvana also means moksha only. What is that moksha? Moksha is Sukha Samvit. Chit and Ananda, that's what it means here. The Samvit means Chit. That consciousness, awareness that is there is called as Samvit. And Sukha is Ananda. One who is Ananda Swarupa, one who is there as consciousness or awareness, that Nirvana Sukha Samvide, to that person, I bow down again. As I said, each of this word can be taken up for contemplation for at least an hour or two. But we have seen these somewhere in various other contexts over the four stutis. Since we are glossing over the meaning and trying to understand the Anvaya and overall context of the verse, there is a lot of deeper study required for each of these phrases, as I said previously before. For now, this is step 1. Verse number 12. Namah Shantaya Ghoraya Mudhaya Gunadharmine. Again, prostrations to Gunadharmi. Gunadharmi means what? One who possesses the characteristics of all the gunas. What are the 3 gunas? Sattva, Rajas and Tamas are the 3 gunas. So one who appears to possess the characteristics of these 3 gunas, to him I bow down. What are these 3 gunas? What are the effects of these 3 gunas? Sattva gives Shanta. Rajas gives ghora and tamas gives mudha. That is the connection. So all this connection, when we read through the verse, we might seem to understand just if you know a little Sanskrita, you might see, understand the literal meaning. But to find these connections between the adjectives is why we require the hand holding of the commentator or the elders when they teach us these verses. Shantaya, Ghoraya, Mudhaya. These three words refer to the Sattva, Rajas, and Tamah Prakriti of that Prakriti. Shantaya, Ghoraya, Mudhaya. Shanta is peaceful, Ghora is fierce, Mudha is the dull tamas aspect. One who appears in these three forms because he is Gunadharmi, because he appears as one having the characteristics of all the three gunas. But even though he appears like this, his original Rupa is immediately next line he says Nirvisheshaya. One who is Nirguna, one who is without these distinctions. These distinctions of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas do not exist in him. He is Gunatita. He is beyond these three gunas. And because he is beyond these three gunas, he is Samyaya. One who is equal, one who is always the same. There is no variations. No variations exist. Samyaya, Namo Jnanaghanaya cha. One who is just pure, dense concentrate of knowledge. To one who is Jnana Ghana. The word Ghana here means something that is just such dense concentrate of something is called as Ghana. To the one who is just pure knowledge, to that person, I offer my prostrations again, says Gajendra. And in the next verse, he says, Kshetrajnaya namastubhyam. I bow down to that Kshetrajna. This word Kshetrajna, some of you might have heard in the Bhagavad Gita. The word Kshetrajna means the Atman which exists in each one of us. When I immediately say as Atman, I feel that there is an Atman inside of me, which is different from somebody else, is my first assumption. That person who controls this field is called as Kshetrajna, the knower of field. Field means what? This body is the field, is the like a play field that we have, like a playground. This body is the field. The person who perceives this field, the knower of this field, is called as Kshetrajna. To that Kshetrajna, I bow down. Who is that Kshetrajna? That Kshetrajna is the Sakshi. He is the Sakshi and he is Sarvadhyaksha also. He is the ruler of all and he is the witness. The Kshetrajna within ourselves itself is the witness. It does not do anything. It witnesses everything as it happens in Prakriti. So one who is the ruler of all and who is the witness, to that Kshetrajna I offer my prostrations. And he is the supreme person also. Purushaya, Atma Mulaya. Here the word Atma again refers to the Kshetrajna. One who is the Mula means one who is the root or one who is the source or one who is the ruler of all these Kshetrajnas. Atma Mulaya, to that Purushaya, Mula Prakritaye Namaha. We have seen this Purusha and Prakriti also before. From Purusha, this Prakriti which is Avyakta comes out. That means the original nature from where the whole of the creation emerges. That is called as Prakriti. And this Prakriti emanates from Purusha. So that Purusha is the cause for this Prakriti also, and hence he is called as Mula Prakriti, one who is the Mula for Prakriti. Mula Prakritaye, one who is the root of nature also, or one who is the root of that Maya also, of Prakriti also. To that Purusha, I bow down. Purushaya Mula Prakritaye Namaha. Kshetrajnaya Namastubhyam Sarvadhyakshaya Sakshine. Purushaya Atma Mulaya Mula Prakritaye Namaha. Till here we will pause for today. There is a lot to mull over and to chew upon. And this actually this stuti continues in the same manner. So what we need, as I said, is to take each of this verse and just sit with that. The literal meaning of that verse might be easy, it might be convoluted, it might be complicated. The more and more we just sit with that verse, the meaning will reveal itself. That is the power of these verses. So let us do that kind of a upasana with these verses itself and do the parayana of these. May the meaning reveal to us by the grace of Bhagavan. Namasarvebhyaha. Now you may raise your hands for any questions that might be there. And I think there was those who have missed out on CBT 1 or 2. Some of you were saying that you could not take it during those windows which are allowed. Please mail this by Monday evening. Today is Saturday. Within a couple of days, please mail them saying you want to take it up again or you have missed it. And then they will give you a slot upon which you can take it and it will be opened again for you. So do not worry if you have missed phase 1 or 2 or both. You will be able to take it up again, but please mail them and get into contact with them so that you will be able to complete those first 2 tests. Thank you very much. Kal Krishnan Mahodaya.
Yes, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Just quickly, I'm just trying to compare this to our own thought process in the modern world of technology and knowledge. So even under the most rigorous conditions of us trying to get knowledge of the physical world, we have a boundary beyond which we cannot go. So if you keep on increasing that boundary, that demarcation, there is a point we become totally unable to understand anything. And I think that is these studies are trying to explain. Is that about right?
It is kind of right. The idea of these stutis is to say that it is something that is a object of direct experience. We cannot even call it an object. That is where it becomes a problem. See, all other knowledge is objective knowledge. Here we are talking about the subject itself who is trying to get, who is the knower. And that is where all other logic and words break down. Because the whole construct of language is to talk about objective knowledge. And we lose, we do not have a language that can talk about what is being spoken about here.
So, having understood all that and the way you were explaining it, the unnecessary question is, why do the study? To whom? For what purpose? I mean, is that a transactional way of communicating with the unknown?
The stuti is mainly from the Advaitic standpoint. It is for this manashuddhi. Manashuddhi means what? Chitta shuddhi. So, see, the Advaitic knowledge is not to attain or capture something that is external. It is to reveal something that is already existing. But to reveal something existing, you might have to remove the dust that is present upon that. So, the idea of the stuti is to remove the dust.
But you could also reach the same point without doing the study, because God or the creator or Srishti or whatever, they are not looking for something special from the human being. We are just like anything that has been created or creation itself.
They are not looking. It is as far as you think that I am there, I am this person who wants to attain something, then this is required. It's not only through stuti. That's why all these various methods of attaining the various yogas exist, whichever works for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Varsha Mahodaya.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
I have a couple of quick questions.
Yes.
First of all, thank you so much for a wonderful lecture. First question is Panchatvam. It looks like Panchasya Bhav, something like that.
And that was that. The last class is that Panchatvam only you're talking about. No? The word Panchatvam usually means death or something. Panchatvam apannaha, if you say, that means death. Because usually when a person dies, his body is given back to the 5 bhutas. Or any creature dies. So that's why we say Panchatvam. But in the general sense, it means destruction of something.
Okay. And secondly is Iteshu.
Iteshu means having gone. Iteshu kritsnashaha. What is the context there? Can you give me
So
the
that
word?
word is not understood actually. Is it an Arsha prayer or something like that? What is the origin, Iteshu?
No. The in dhatu is there. No. Eti itaha yanti like
Okay.
there
Okay.
tapratyaya itaha. Itaha means iteshu
Yes,
is
yes.
saptami ante.
Okay. Yeah, yes. Thank you so much.
Gateshu.
Lastly, it's Namo Giram Viduraya, right?
Yes.
Shouldn't it have been Namo Gire Viduraya?
Need not be Giram Viduraya, one who is beyond.
That becomes Shashti.
Yeah, it is Shashti.
Namo for Namo.
Oh, no. Viduraya is the Chaturthi, no? So Viduraya
Yes,
Namaha. Kasya
and
Viduraya.
Gire
Giram Viduraya.
and
That's all. So that is correct.
Giram. Okay. Thank you so much.
Dhanyavad.
Dhanyavad.
Ram Sarvebhyaha. We will meet again next week. Dhanyavadas Sarvebhya.